welcome back. It's Mystic here. Wow, it's been a minute since I've had the opportunity to sit down and do a Being a Writer episode with you guys. I've been busy being a writer and doing stuff. So as I was sitting here today doing some work and writing out some scripts and things, I decided to jot some notes and said, I'm gonna do an episode tonight on this topic because this has been a journey. Right? It's been a lot of stuff. There's been some stuff happening that's been distracting and causing discourse and causing upset and confusion. We live in a crazy world. And on top of that, as an artist, it is also crazy because there's a lot happening. And when there's a lot happening and there's a lot of turmoil, one of the things that gets in the way of creativity is turmoil. So tonight's episode of Being a Writer, I'm calling with love and respect. Sometimes it's messy because sometimes it is messy. For me, I have been wrestling through some wild work projects, working through my own personal projects, and working with some students on their projects. So I've been juggling some plates. For those of you who are Gen X and older, they used to have these shows on television and they'd have these magicians and they'd do these tricks. And one of the things they would do with crazy music in the background, they'd have these plates on these dowels and they'd spin the plates on top of the dowels, and they've had them set up along the stage, and they'd have to run around from each dowel to keep the plates from falling and dropping and crashing to the floor. So keeping the plates atop of the dowel is the trick. Don't lose what you're doing being distracted by somebody putting more stuff there. And the most important thing, of course, is to feed your family, feed yourself, take care of business. And a lot of times our art, our creativity, our writing, whatever that creative piece of you is, takes second base. It's not in the forefront of what it is that you want to do because it's not a priority, because society has told you it's not a priority. So this is when it gets messy. So what are we talking about when I say that it's messy? Deadlines, distractions, emotions, pressure. Life's pressure presses upon you and you can't get anything done. You can't get your creative muse to turn on, or you can't find the time to turn it on, or you end up staying up all night trying to get the stuff done, so you don't get enough work, you don't get enough sleep. So it's just a mess. At the end of the day, I have to tell you, I was thinking about this. Writing is often like this, right? How many of you guys have had a passion project? And it's like, all my projects are passionate. Yeah. But seriously, we have one that we feel really, really great about. Something that is in our soul, in our DNA. And it comes at us like that, messy. We think we have it, then it evolves, it's living, it's breathing. For those of you that follow me, I do my, Tales of Mystic. Right now, on the timeline, we are living in the Rise of the Soul Queen. This is a passion project of mine that I've been working on for some time. And I decided that rather than trying to publish it or do a script and try to shop it, I was going to read it because I wanted to get it out there. And I just wasn't able to find the time to do what I needed to do because it kept getting put on the back burner because of everything else that I had. There's this script is in front of it, this project's in front of it, this client's in front of it. It was never going to get out, and I wanted it out. And a friend of mine told me, why don't you just read a story? Tell people, connect to your storytelling process, and it'll probably be fun for you. Find a fun story and read it and release it in episodes. It'll be fun. And she was right. I'm having so much fun with it. But it was a way for me to get this story off of my chest. And I found that as I start releasing these episodes, that it released, like it emptied a part of my brain to focus on other stuff because it was sitting there locked in a box, taking up space in the brain. My neighbor just did something. I think they're sumo wrestling up there, so I apologize for the noise. And you need to know that you're creative and we're all like that. We've all got this big warehouse of ideas in our head. And when things get messy in our lives, the warehouse gets messy. We call it all kinds of stuff. Writer's block. We can be upset. We can even call it depression when we're going through stuff. When your heart project and your soul DNA gift is interrupted, it affects your feelings. So we don't talk enough about this, do we? We don't talk about how to write when life is in chaos. We don't. Writing is not a special gift. It's not a superpower to anybody who's not a writer. To writers, of course, it is our superpower. I am Wonder Woman, I write. But if you're not a writer, you don't see it as a superpower because you have other superpowers. It's difficult to write when you're in the middle of chaos. But the thing is, if you want to live your passion as a writer, you have to be able to write in chaos, because if you want somebody to cut you a check as a writer, you have to be able to go through stuff and sit down and write. And so you look at people who are prolific at it, whether they're in film, television, whether they're novelists like Stephen King. These people can write no matter what's going on with them because they've had to. Deadlines, expectations, you do what you have to do to get through the process. So the first thing I want to do in terms of just a reflection, I have some little notes here that I was taking, and when life is a mess, your writing is a mess, right? So I think we've missed the benefit of the draft. I'm a Generation Xer, so I still have pencils and pens and highlighters and sticky notes and pads of paper and binder paper and all kinds of stuff. I have journals that I journal in, and I have notebooks that I write my ideas in. I like to write, and it helps me organize my thoughts, yes, but it also helps me shake off the mess. The computer, not so much. I don't know if there's a thing for me about sitting at the computer that feels like work. And I do a lot of work at the computer, but when I just need to release, I like to sit down. Sometimes I do it outside. Sometimes I do it in the room. Sometimes I do it in the bathtub, wherever you need to be with just your pen and your pencil, whatever you have, and just write. Let it come out of you so that you can free up that space inside that big warehouse that's your brain, so that your brain can start releasing some of that really juicy stuff that you've got in those ideas in there. So drafts aren't supposed to be neat. Don't go back and correct them. Stop erasing and scribbling on your draft pad. Just write. The thoughts don't have to be full. The sentences can be awkward. You can have notes on the side. You can just scribble. If you can't think of the words, you could draw a doodle. Let your mind play so that you can regain the neatness or the function or the flow of your writing back again. Life doesn't give us the ideal conditions either. Oh my God, that was a good note there. Bad days, interruptions, responsibilities, adulting. Let's just say it. Sometimes you wake up in a great mood. I meditate at night before I go to bed. I meditate in the morning. Sometimes I meditate, I get up, make my coffee, I feel really great, and then life happens. Kapow. You've got something that's just been dropped off, and now it just throws you off, and it can be horrifying. But what are you going to do? You have to find your grounded space again so that you can do this thing that you want to do. You want to be a writer. Being a writer is not about, I write because it's Sunday at 4:00 in the afternoon, and that's what I do on Sunday at 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm a writer because I write. I'm a professional writer because I write. And so what does that mean? That my life is involved in writing in somehow, some way, every waking hour, whether I am researching for a character, researching for a project, doing a video to support something, creating content for my YouTube channel, helping somebody create content for their YouTube channel, helping somebody review their script. I am a writer. Creating that energy for yourself is going to make a huge difference, because you will help bring the mess under control by the muscle memory of training your internal voices to know that you are a writer. And your writer inside you will tell you to stop the nonsense and let's get focused. Both kinds of mess are part of the process. What are both kinds of the mess? There's hard mess. There's life mess. Things are bad, whether it's paying bills, whether it's relationships having challenges, whether it's, personal tragedy, there's that. And then there's things that are just messy. I ran out of time on a project. I got too much going on. I didn't plan well, whatever it is. The two types of messes. When you have the hard messes, make sure that you have a support system that help walk you through it. You are a creative. Creatives are very sensitive. Hard messes can throw you down hard and put you in a space that you may not be able to come out of for a long time. So make sure you connect with people, have a mentor, have a family member, have somebody that you trust that you can just talk to help pull you out. The other messes is about writing it down, working through it, journaling, or just talking to yourself. I talk to myself all the time. So this is where I like to share my personal stories, and this one's a tough one. I recently lost my sister. It was a very difficult loss, and I'm still adjusting to it. And one of the things that I shared with my sister is this passion for writing. She was a writer, and we were going through this journey together. She was working on a script, and I was encouraging her, and she was ill, but we had hope that she was going to come through it. And unfortunately, she succumbed to it. And it was really hard on me. I had a really difficult time with it. And I've gotten back into writing songs. I wrote a song in her honor while she was still living. And she didn't survive for me to get it released, but I do have it released. And I listen to it from time to time. I'll link it with the description so that you guys can give it a listen. And as I listened to it, I'm like, oh my God, my sister inspired that. And that only inspired me more. And I share that with you because even in the darkness, you can get a spark of light. The things that make creatives wonderful and meaningful is that we tap into the experiences that we have and people can relate to it. If everybody's life was perfect, the writing would not be interesting. I'm going to say that again. If everybody's life was perfect, the writing wouldn't be interesting. People read your books, listen to your songs, watch your films, watch your YouTube content, watch your television shows to escape from their lives. So they want to hear and see and feel all the messy. Where am I going with this, my friend? Use the messy to create your characters. Use the messy to create your worlds. Use the messy to create the experiences that your characters and your worlds and your stories will take us through, that will cause us to bond with the stories that you write. The messiness is what makes you human. And it also gives your writing humanity. And it makes us want to hear more. And it's not pretty. I look back on some of the stuff that I've created when my life was messy. And that's always a fun thing to do as a writer, right? It's like looking back at your 12th grade assignments that you might hold on to. Oh my God, yes, I still have some of those. And like, wow, boy, I was young in my writing process. It's okay because we all grow, but it's about expression and not holding on to that stuff. Let it evolve, let it out, and let it live and let it breathe. Some of the greatest books, films, scripts, everything, they were chaos and they were messy. And the person got it out of their system. Got it out of their system and then came back and fixed it and created something wonderful. Don't expect yourself to sit down and write a first draft just straight off the bat, and it becomes the most magnificent masterpiece. That might happen. It's not, it's not my business. You could be that writer. You might sit down and write the first draft and it's brilliant and you go off and win an Academy Award. But for most of us, that's not how it happens. We have to have that messy draft. Just let it out. Stop being nitpicky and stop being so hard on yourself. Just let it out. Let your system take control. And if you can't make it work, I have some tips for you that work for me. I don't know if they'll work for you. I set a timer and I make myself write. When I'm going through hard stuff, when I'm going through messy stuff, I make myself write. 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is that I can muster. I sit down and make myself write so that I don't forget to write. So I don't forget the process. So I don't lose muscle mass in my writing. It's like being at the gym. If you want to lose weight, if you want to gain muscle, if you want to tone up, you got to get up with discipline and have a process. Even when you don't feel like it, you still got to get up and go to the gym. It's the same thing. And give yourself permission to be incorrect, spell poorly, make bad words happen. Give yourself permission to just write. Don't keep trying to correct stuff. When your mind's going through messy stuff, you're going to be hard on yourself. So just write. Okay. And when you're stuck, once upon a time, there was a kid with a blue ball and he was wearing, what was he wearing? Just skip it and go on to the next section. Let it flow. Just let it come out and do it. Just keep doing it and just show up and keep doing it. Set yourself a timer. Give yourself permission not to be perfect in your words. Keep the flow going. Use placeholders. Put a big white sticky note in the middle of the page, like I'm going to come back to this later. And then make sure you have discipline. Show up anyway, even when you don't feel like it. If you can't write anything, doodle. Draw some daisies and stick people dancing in the street. Whatever you need to do, every day do something to help yourself work through the messy. Messy doesn't mean meaningless. Messy means you're moving. Believe it or not, you're letting stuff out. So just keep moving. I hope this was interesting. This was fun for me. I feel like I got some stuff off my chest. If you're starting at a messy page, you're sitting in the middle of a messy life situation, just remember, my friends, you're not failing. You're writing like every other writer has and always will write. Everything that you're going through in life, there's a writer somewhere working on a show, working on a script, working on their novel draft that's going through the same thing you're going through, only they have to complete their journey because they have a deadline to meet. And they have people waiting for them to meet, and they still have to go through it. They still have to finish. So just remember that. And remember that it's sometimes it's messy, and that's okay. Because I have a secret for you. Come close. Are you ready? Messy writing is still writing. It might be messy, but you still did it. And that's important. And it's important to me that you as a writer feel empowered and strong in your writing. So if this is resonating for you, if this was helpful, if you found this interesting, drop a comment. Give me a like. Make sure you share this. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I really appreciate it. And drop a comment with how you write through messy days. I'd love to hear your stories, and I like to share sometimes when people share their stories. So that's always fun to do as well. And hey, I just launched my my services, and I'm offering a free consult. If you're interested in taking advantage of that, you can drop a comment down there or send me a direct message, and I'm happy to have that conversation with you on what we can do to work together to help you through your process. And other than that, my friends, whatever you do in life, just remember that creativity is a superpower. It is a gift. And if you have that gift, and it's your responsibility to share it with the world, I want you to be a writer. I want you to be happy. And I want you to dream fantastic dreams of how your stories can get out in the world. Thank you for coming by. Mystic loves you. and I will see you next time. Keep writing, even though it's messy. Bye-bye now.